right, now that we've drawn this side, we want to look at using the via construction offset plane and then create and mirror tool to then draw this whole piece in the second half of this, the two sides. So to start with, we go to construct, offset plane, and we select what face we want to base our offset plane from. So we'll select the inside where the grooves are. Now the entire piece is going to be 200 mil. So if we look at our little drawing here, we're talking from that edge to that edge is 200 millimeters. Some of these drawings, oh, they've all been moved around, will show us that possibly. But if we go back to here, we know that the two thicknesses of our job is 16 mil. So two 16 mil pieces is 32 millimeters together. If we go 200 minus 32, that's going to bring us to 168 millimeters, and therefore dividing that by 2 is 84. And that's the calculations that we need. So when you're drawing with Fusion, it's often handy to have a little piece of paper next to you to work that out. And so with that, we're saying Control-Z, construct the offset plane. I want to base it off that face, and I want it to be 84 millimeters away. And we'll say OK. I got to create, and I want to mirror. And this is, again, we need to make sure we have components. If you have got to this point and you haven't created a component, this will not work. So we need to go to what component do you want to select, and that's this side. And which mirrored plane do you want to use? This one. We say OK. Now it does get a little bit dark. You can't quite see all the bits. Some of it's undone. Go to the top of your tree and select that circle. You will now be able to see both parts. Orbit around if you like and have a look. And there's the two sides. Use the orbit tool. Sometimes it's hard to see where you were supposed to be again. Again, up to the top. And we select the picture of the house. Now we go back to that right view. Now it mirrors the side. So you might go back up into this and call that side right. And instead of being side mirror, let's change that to side left. So we now have our two sides of our job. We now want to create the base. So create a new component. We're not going to call it component 3. We'll call it the base. Tell that OK. Again, it goes whited out. You can draw like that. It's fine. I'm selected into the base automatically. And I want to start sketching. So I can draw it. Top view will be my plan. So I'm drawing a piece of timber, call myself rectangle, that is 200 millimeters by 90 millimeters. Finish sketch. I'm now going to extrude this to 16 millimeters. I can see I've kind of placed it on the other side, so I can turn that around. And I'm going to need to put those grooves into this one as well. So I'm going to sketch on edge, get my rectangle, zoom in, make sure I click on the edge, use the dimension tool. This is 6 mil, wonderful. Fusion does remember common measurements. Dimension tool, the width of this I want to be 3 millimeters, and I want this to be 19 millimeters from the edge. Now with this, we'll draw the both and see if our trick of extruding two at the same time is going to work. And we can try and drag it to the right size, dimension to 6 mil, and the width. I'll be easy to go down here. Sometimes you got to zoom in a bit more. Nope. Dimensioning the width of that to 3 mil. And we'll go from that edge to the edge of the drawing, and we said 19 mil. So I've now got the two rectangles drawn up. I'm going to select extrude, select that one face, hold down shift, select the other one, and this is 200 millimeters long. So I'm going to minus this 200. And I can now see that I have my two trenches in place. Click on that corner, come back around, and there's one more bit of drilling I'll do to this, and I'll drill in a 19 millimeter hole. So I'll draw my little circle, dimension tool, drag that out 19 mil. My piece of timber is 90 wide, so I want it to be in the center, 45. My whole length of this timber is 200, so the center is going to be 100. Finish sketch, extrude, grab the circle, minus 16, back up to the picture of a house, and there we go. So the last thing we're going to do with this is joint these together. So to do this, I do like to have everything selected so I can see it all. That yellow section there is the construction plane. So if I go up and open up the right hand side, find construction, I can turn that plane off. Go to my left hand side, I find construction, I can turn that plane off. So if it does annoy you, you want to move it, that is possible. Alright, so we're now looking at this tool here called the joint tool. You can press the letter J and it will bring that up too. And we want to select a face. So I'm going to select just that top corner and I want it to go into that corner there. Now, this will be very fiddly when you're doing it for the very first time. So it's right up into that corner, which is good to see. And I right down into that corner there. So what I now would like to do is to move this up -6. It's already going up, so I'm not going to go -6. I'm just going to go 6. So you can see how this is actually going inside that bottom piece of timber. This is the starting of a rebate joint. So now what we do is select the combine tool, and you want to make sure it's set to cut, and the target body is the base, and the tool body is the upright. So the upright is cutting into the base, and we say OK. And what I didn't do, go back to this step, very important, we want to keep the tool. So the target body we said was the base, the tool is that upright, and because I previously didn't have keep tool selected, it deleted the tool, which is the side. We don't want to do that. So now when I do it, they both remain, it's thinking, and if I turned off the right side, you can see how I've cut into this piece of timber. So I haven't had to draw that, I've used the geometry of what I have there. So let's do it over here. Combine, the target is the base, the tool is the upright. It's remembered that I just said keep tool. You say OK, and there we go. So if I turn off the right and I turn off the left, you will make that piece of timber. You'll cut it down to size, you'll use the chisel, mallet, tenon saw, and you'll cut out that rebate. Do the same on the left and the right, mark it up, use the Forstner bit, use the drill press and drill that hole, and you'll receive those trenches. They'll be cut by the table saw. So there are the first 3 steps of drawing the lolly machine.